Finally, Aquaman has made
$1 billion.
Finally, after 6 films, tons of studio antics, and a convoluted universe, finally the DC Universe has its first billion-dollar film. That's right, over the weekend Aquaman cracked that $1 billion ceiling. It's made exactly $1.02 billion worldwide, and most of that, over $700 million, coming from overseas. That makes Aquaman the highest grossing film from the new DC Universe, and the second highest grossing DC film ever. Oh yeah, it beat The Dark Knight, the greatest live action superhero film ever made. Aquaman beat it by $17 million, and if it makes another $65 million, it'll beat The Dark Knight Rises, making it the highest grossing DC film ever. Finally, Warner Bros. Has found something that works for the masses. I like the movie. I put it on the same level as Wonder Woman. I think Man of Steel is still the most cohesive of the DC films, but the other two did a good job of setting up the characters and the world and making them interesting. Aquaman was fun, bright, some great concepts for Atlantis. You can make spin-off movies galore with the world building in this film. The acting was okay. Jason Momoa did fine. Willem Dafoe, of course, steals the show. The special effects were hit or miss. When they worked, they really worked. When they didn't, yeah, can't miss it. It's like the CGI from The Matrix Reloaded. The film feels like there were some scenes missing, but not as bad with Batman vs Superman or the Justice League. Overall, it was a good foot forward. Not perfect, but a good start. I can see why it made so much money. It's as close to the Marvel Disney style that DC and Warner Bros. Has ever gotten without completely falling into one-liners and perpetual action comedy. Now, it played well internationally, but Aquaman didn't do as well in the States. It's a few $1 million behind Man of Steel, and it might crack that $300 million domestic mark in another week, but it's not getting anywhere near Wonder Woman's $413 million. I think that's mostly because of the sour taste people still have for the DC movies after Batman vs Superman and the Justice League, and it's going to take a good deal of time to wash that away. Zack Snyder's vision kind of ruined the follow-up films for a while. The best option Warner Bros. Has is to use Aquaman as the new template. Keep the serious tone, but add in some cocky humor and brighten the picture. Literally, keep it saturated with colors, don't darken it. And I think they can recover. They are tied to this world that Snyder set up, but they can ignore the bulk of it. If Shazam follows this tone, and I think it will, that movie will do well, and Warner Bros. Can now move forward. I think what they need to do is get someone in charge to maintain the general tone and scope of the films. Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman all exist in the same world, but their films are completely separate. I think maintaining that direction is probably best. That allows for some unique approaches while still keeping the same feel. The big issue here is doing a proper Justice League movie, fixing Batman and Superman, and being more strategic with the films. You don't have to release 3 or 4 films a year. You can do them one at a time, build the suspense, play on epic storylines. That seems to work best. Of course, Warner Bros. Is gonna wanna, so they've got this Joker movie that seems to be set in a completely different universe, and the Birds of Prey film that's still on, and that may be set in yet another universe. Just stop. Tie it all together and make it easier on yourself. You've gone through all this trouble to create this big universe. Just put it in the universe, change the time frame of when it happened. You're already jumping around with Wonder Woman. It's not going to be a big deal. There's also this other thing that they could do that would blow the roofs off of theaters. An Arrowverse crossover film. If they did that, they couldn't print money fast enough, especially if it were a total surprise. They won't do that though, because that would be cool. Then there's still the issue of Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck. I like both of them and hope they stick around, but it's not looking good. Then there's the Flash movie that nobody wants to see. And then there's the Suicide Squad, which kinda has the same vibe. Hopefully Warner Bros. Will learn from Aquaman's success and try to use what worked. Given how much the studio has meddled with the films to the point of ruining them, it's a miracle Aquaman came out as well as it did. Let's see how Shazam does, and then we can see what plan really works well with these characters.